Lesson 47. Now let's review adverbs before we introduce a new lesson. Now here I have 3 examples of sentences, and I want you to tell me what are the adverbs that you see. Now let's read number 1. Number 1 says, Mother was carefully decorating the cake. Number 2, Bruce and I had already hung the balloons. Number 3, Mandy was cheerfully greeting her guests. Now, let's see in number 1. In number 1, the adverb is carefully. Now, carefully is the adverb here in number 1 because it tells something about the verb, and our verb is the word decorating. Now, how about number 2? Bruce and I had already hung the balloons. Now, where is the verb here? In number 2, the verb here is the word hung. Now, what word that tells about the action of the verb? Now, the answer is already. How about in number 3? Mandy was cheerfully greeting her guest. Where is the adverb here? Remember, an adverb tells about the action of the verb and can change the meaning of the sentence. The answer is cheerfully. Now I guess we could move on to our next lesson. Here in lesson 47, we are going to learn about contractions. Okay. Contraction is 2 words put together and shortened to make one word. Here we have an example. I have 2 words, I plus have. If you put them together to make it shorter, you will have I've. And then the next one, we have do plus not. We have don't. Now, do you notice anything about the words that we put together? What did we remove? What did we add? Now, take a look at this one here. Now, look at the words inside that red bubble. Think of something, what makes them in common. These are all verbs. Will, are, is, have, am. They're all helping verbs. Now, pronouns can be combined with some verbs to form contractions. The rule for which letters are dropped from the verb depends upon the verb. Some of the letters are omitted to form contractions, and then we replace that with an apostrophe. Okay, so we have to insert an apostrophe in its place. So if you see she plus will have she'll. The apostrophe shows where letters have been left out. Now here's another one. Some contractions are formed by combining verbs and the word not. So won't and can't are exceptions. Won't is formed from the words will and not. Can't is formed from one word, cannot. Now, some contractions are formed by combining nouns and verbs. For example, we have Michael plus is, and then we're going to put them together and we'll have Michael's. And another example, dog is, and then we're going to, if we put it together, it will be dogs. And you can see it right there in front of you, the screen. Now here's an example of sentence. Brooke is not playing with us. Now what are we going to do here? To make a contraction of a verb and the word not, you must take the letter O from not and combine the 2 words. Now, using an apostrophe to show where the letter O was left out. That's what we're going to do, and that's how it's supposed to look like. So we have Brooke isn't playing with us. Now here's another one. Kylie could not play either. Now, let's write a contraction to replace the words could not, and that will be couldn't. So we're going to drop the O and insert an apostrophe on its place. So we'll have Kylie couldn't play either. Now our next lesson is also double negatives. Now we have an example here. We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. So we have the word no, not. What are these words? These are the negative words. Now here are some list of our negative verbs. We have no, barely, only, nobody, nothing, not, but, only for meaning only, never, hardly, none, no one, neither, not, and apostrophe and T, that's also not. Look at this sentence. She has a kitten. Do you see any negative words here? I don't see any. So let's make this sentence negative, and that's what we're going to do. Now here are some examples. We can say she doesn't have a kitten, she does not have a kitten, or she has no kitten, and these are all negative sentences. Now remember, when we said she has a kitten, that is a positive sentence. So in order for us to turn that sentence into a negative sentence, we have to add the word not or no. Okay? So the word doesn't, not, no are negative words. How about we don't have no coats? What do we see here? We see don't and no as your negative words. Now, what do you think? Do you think is this correct? Now, don't and no, we call this double negatives because we have two. Now, double negative is incorrect. So, like, for example, I couldn't find no paper. I don't want nothing. We're not supposed to write that way. We're only allowed in English grammar, we're only allowed to use one single or a single negative. And for example, we have here in front of you, I couldn't find any paper. You can say I couldn't find no paper, or I don't want nothing. You have to say I don't want anything. Now, this is the rule to remember. A double negative is a statement containing two negative words. It is not part of standard English, and its use should be avoided. Okay, so that's it for contraction action and double negatives.